Hi book lovers, it's Jenny at Julia Baby Jen, and today I'm going to be sharing my favorite quotes from Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Alright, so I've already done a book review on this wonderful book, but I wanted to go ahead and share all my favorite quotes. I really didn't have a lot of time in my review to go through every single quote that I marked, but I really wanted to do that with you and share those with you because I absolutely love this story. Some of these might be a little spoilerish. I don't think I marked anything that's an outright spoiler, but if you want to go into this not knowing a lot, you might not want to watch this video until you've read the book. But without further ado, I'm going to read you my favorite quotes from Strange the Dreamer. And this is about Sarah or Sari. I'm not really sure how to pronounce her name. Orchid Witch, they called her. She felt the pulse of life in things and nursed it forth to make them grow. She was, Sari thought, like a springtime distilled into a person. I was just thinking, said Sparrow, how our waking life is like the citadel. Enclosed, I mean. Indoors, no sky. But dreaming is like the garden. You can step out of prison and feel the sky around you. In a dream, you can be anywhere. This is one of my favorite quotes out of the whole book. Horizons instead of books. Writing instead of reading. It was a different life out here, but make no mistake, Laszlo was every bit the dreamer he had always been, if not more. He might have left his books behind, but he carried all his stories with him, out of the glade-lit nooks of the library and into landscapes far more fit for them. I really love that quote. Vengeance. Sarai heard the way he said it, and she understood something. Vengeance ought to be spoken through gritted teeth, spittle flying, the cords of one's soul so entangled in it that you can't let it go even if you try. Fear was her medium, and nightmares her art. Every night for years she had tormented the sleepers of Weep. Did you make anyone cry? Minya would ask her in the morning. Did you make anyone scream? The answer was always yes. Sarai had an arsenal of terrors. She was an arsenal of terrors. All these years she'd been collecting them, and where could she keep them but within herself? She felt them at the core of her, every image and scene of fright and foreboding, of shame, shock, and misery, of bloodshed and agony. It was why she dared no longer dream, because in her own sleep she was like any dreamer, at the mercy of her unconscious. Once she fell asleep, she was no sorceress or dark enthrallor, but just a sleeping girl, with no control over the terrors within her. This is a really great one, too. Burning lines raced through his consciousness, connecting far-flung dots and filling in blanks, erasing question marks and adding a dozen more for every one erased. A dozen. There could be no end to the questions, but the sketch outlines of answers were beginning to appear, and they were astonishing. Every mind is its own world. Most occupy a vast middle ground of ordinary, while others are more distinct, pleasant, even beautiful, or sometimes slippery and unaccountably wrong feeling. Sarai couldn't even remember what her own had been like, back before she had made it the zoos of terrors it was now, her own mind a place she was afraid to be caught out in the dark, so to speak, and had to shelter herself from by means of a drink that dulled her with its seeping gray nothing. The God-Slayer's dreams were a realm of horrors too, uniquely his own, while Suhaili's were soft as a shawl that wraps a child against the cold. Sarai had trespassed into thousands of minds, tens of thousands, and she sifted her invisible fingers through dreams beyond counting. She was even burned alive by the citizens of Weep, and in between deaths she was what? She was a girl in a dark wood who has heard a twig snap. The space between nightmares was like the silence after the snap, when you know that whatever made it is holding itself still and watching you in the dark. Errol Fane let out a slow breath. Were you afraid of the dark as a child? A chill sneaked up Laszlo's spine. He thought again of the crypt of the abbey and the nights locked in with dead monks. Yes, he said simply. Even when you knew rationally that there was nothing in it that could harm you. Yes. Well, we are all children in the dark, here in Weep. That line says so much about this book. I mean, there's a lot of this book in just that one little short scene right there. He pulled out a chair for her. She moved to sit. Neither had performed this simple maneuver. on land, let alone in water, and it struck them at the same moment that there was room for error. Push the chair in too quickly or too slowly, or else sit too soon or too heavily, and misadventure ensues, perhaps even an unintended baptism of the hindquarters. But they managed it all right, and Laszlo took the chair opposite. Just like that, there were two people sitting at a table regarding each other shyly through a wisp of tea steam. Inside a dream, within a lost city, in the shadow of an angel, at the brink of calamity. I love that one. She asked in a hesitant whisper, "Do you still think I'm a singularly and horrible demon?" "No," he said, smiling. "I think you're a fairy tale. I think you're magical and brave and exquisite." And his voice grew bashful. "Only in a dream could he be so bold and speak such words. I hope you'll let me be in your story." That is one of the most beautiful, beautiful, I guess, come on lines ever that I've ever read. I just love that part. So those are my favorite quotes in Strange the Dreamer, and there's so many more. I could have listed so many more, but those are my favorites. I absolutely love them. Leave me comments below if you've read this book, or if you've read Laini Taylor and love her writing as much as I do, or anything of that nature. I'd love to chat about that. I hope everyone has a good day. I will talk to you later. Bye.